Good evening to one and all who's come here to watch us speak. Let me introduce myself. I am Reshma, working with corporate for over 8 years and have experience with talent acquisition, business HR group, talent management, and even with talent development. So I'm a keen person who would, always want to, get into HR fields to understand all the bifurcation. And I'm happy to say that Genesis has got me here to you all people who actually know how HR function works. Before I could start, I'll take a minute to thank Genesis for having me today. It is a great pleasure to come here and speak. Awesome. So we'll have this as a very interactive session. Okay, I'm gonna take you over through the most asked HR questions, not just within TCS. Beyond that, in corporate, we'll also see what real life examples that I can give you to help you understand how a HR interview is taken. Awesome. So, can I have a thumbs up for people who are there? It will be nice for me to know that you guys are there and we can have a very interactive session here. So, I'm here for a very long time. So, I'm here to answer all your queries, questions. It can be silly to any tough queries. All right, can I please have a thumbs up? I like hearts. So, if you could drop me a heart, it would be nice. Okay, thumbs up at least. All right, let's get started. So when you sit for an interview, or when you know that I have completed my technical round, and the final round that I would sit is with the HR. Do you know what a HR actually looks for? Any ideas? If you all could just ping me. As I said, now let's have a very friendly and a very open forum to discuss. So that will be fun. I can see people there. Oh, I got a hat. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so do you know what HR actually looks for during the HR interview? Any idea? Would someone like to take it up? You can type. I'm having access to comments this side, so I'll be able to see. All right, no problem. So I think there is a myth, okay? So most of us, even when I was a fresher who joined the corporate, I thought, okay, I have a good communication and I'm confident, so I can crack this interview. Do you think that's the right approach? Do you agree that we all think this way? Yeah, okay. Shabrik, thank you so much. Yeah, that's what most of us think, but that's a myth. You know what? Most HR wants to know your deeper qualities. They want to understand your problem solving skills. How are you emotionally connected? Right? So let's go by real life scenarios. Okay? So I will probably ask you a question and you help me know what would be your answer for that. Okay? Cool. So let's say a HR is coming to you and asking a question like this, and the question follows. You're leading a project. Okay, HR is asking the candidate. So you're leading a project, but your teammates are underperforming, and they're very curious to know. So the HR ask you, how do you handle it? Any inputs here? You can type. Do not hesitate. Wrong answers are welcome. All right, we'll take another 10 seconds to have answers. I'll repeat the question. You're leading a project, but your teammates are underperforming. How would you handle it? I'll tell you something, while you're thinking and you're typing, most of the HR questions are trapped. Okay, I'll tell you why as well. So keep watching. I'll give you answer for that. Any answers? Okay. So I've heard people telling, I'll do everything by myself because I am a trustworthy person and I bet I can handle everything by myself. Okay, now can I have your answers to know if this is correct or wrong? Is it right approach to tell? Okay, all right. So this is an incorrect way. How can you answer such question? Would be that you show them that you are willing to help people, right? So the answer can be like, I will guide that person. So I will teach them what I know. So if he's my colleague, I know what exactly are his strength. I'll ensure that I learn, give my knowledge to help him to meet the deadlines. Okay, so what is happening here? So the HR will understand that you're a team player and you don't want to be a lone wolves, right? Makes sense? Shall we see another example very similar to problem solving, like I said? Another one, a thumbs up please. See, let's keep this interactive, guys. So you ask me questions. So let's say I ask you questions and you give me the answers. Okay, all right. So the HR asks you that you as a fresher, you're there, and the question comes like, the project faces an unexpected issue. Okay, so there is an issue in the project and seniors are not available around. The question comes to you like, what will you do? You can always question them back when you're not understanding the question. That is one other trick. Okay, the question here is, your if you see, if you are the project, I mean, sorry, I'm so sorry about that. So the project is facing an issue but no senior is available. What will you do? So we'll have the wrong answers first for this. So I've taken, to be very honest, I have taken list of questions that I have been often hearing it from the associates or from the candidates, I would say. Are you thinking I'll tell? Probably I'll wait for someone to guide me as a fresher. So this is where they're trying to understand your problem solving skill, right? So the answer can go like this. Probably you can say, though I am very new, I will research what has happened. I will analyze and try to find a temporary solution. And then, when the senior is around, I'll probably get it done. Make sense? Yes? No? Okay. All right. So what is happening here? When somebody is asking you a question, saying you're a fresher and you're put in a situation where you have to give an outcome, you may think, okay, this is new to me, I don't know. So if you could see in the picture that I have displayed, it says confidence, right? So it also says ability, right? So the HR here is wanting to understand, will you panic or are you analyzing things? And when you say a negative solution, the HR understand that you are not fit or kind of things. They may think that you are probably taking a back step and you're not being very honest with, or probably like, okay, I'm going away, I'm not fit for this. That may make a HR think, okay, what, we need to ask him or probe more questions. Okay, so always try to give answers in a positive way, so that way the other person sitting opposite to you knows that you're trying, right? There's nothing worse than trying that's ever gonna happen. Cool. Do you guys want another example? One nice one? Yes? No? A very common question. Okay, how will your skill develop the company? Or let's say, how will you upskill the company with your knowledge? So different types of different types of question, but the answer would be same. I've seen most common answers coming like, I'm gonna change my tone just for your reference. Most of the questions, when I have personally asked these questions to associate, the most familiar answer comes, I know Python, I have done machine learning. So I think, when you have a project like this, I will come and work. So, so this is the most common answer. Or another answer would be like, okay, you will train me, I will learn it quick, and I will do the work. Do you guys think this is right approach? Yes, no? Can I have a thumbs up? Shabri was very interactive. He went mute. All right. No issues. So, see, when a tricky question like this is asked, make sure that you are bringing in examples from your college, or you would have heard from a lot of people, right? So, bring in some live answers. So, you can say, I worked in automation while I was doing my project, right? So, we optimized XYZ, we developed XYZ. So you can also mention that you had what are the, so every project will have a problem, right? You can also tell them that this is what has happened, and now how did I come out of it, right? So these are basic things like a HR is expecting. They just don't want to hear a one line answer from you, but a situation with a solution. That is something very important. Okay. How also see, they HRs would affect, they kind of want to know how emotionally strong you are, right? So there are also questions like, if your manager criticizes your work, what will you do? So these are few straight cut questions that HR wants to throw at you to know what would be your answer. Okay, so you may again relate to what is happening in your college days, because we are freshers, right? So we are not sure how corporate works. So let's say if the HR is asking if your manager is criticizing your work, and how will you respond? So you picture things in your head. Let's say your head of the department, that person is being little rude to you, and you're not unsure what to do. So will you go to him and say that, I did not do anything wrong? Will you start arguing with them to make your point right, or is there a different way to understand how to overcome that situation? So do you think this approach is right, the approach of telling, so if I've not made a mistake, I will not be quiet, I will go ahead, argue with them, and prove that I'm wrong? So this is very common answer that I have been getting. Do you think this is something that is right to put in to a HR? Yes, no? Well, okay, we are not supposed to say that, right? So the right approach for this question would be that you tell them that you will seek feedback. Okay, you will improve the work, and any feedback that is given to you, you will put it across in your future task and meet the expectation. Not everybody is right and not everybody is wrong. Correct? Awesome. So I'll just give you a 3 minutes resume scan. Okay, so let's say you're handing over your resume to a HR. Do you know that HR only takes 30 seconds to understand your resume? So in that 30 seconds, they will know if you will fit in or not. Yes. Okay. Yes, that's right. There they see. Ideally, I've seen resumes. Most of the resumes, especially people who are just out of college, having a big box in the front sheet with all their colleges and schools that they have studied, and technical skills would be C comma Java comma Python comma HTML comma CSS, etc., etc., whatnot. Everything that they have, all the subjects that they have learned in their engineering would be put on the resume. Do you think that's a right approach? No, right? Yes. So if you have specified skills, let's say you're good at SQL, or let's say you are putting SQL as your skill, maybe you will not have experience because you're a fresher, but you can mention the projects that you have done through SQL. Cloud computing is something that is, booming these days. So if you have done internship, mention in bracket that internship is done with XYZ company with this stipulated time. So these attracts the HR to wanting to know more about you, right? Now the one last question on this topic, very last. Okay. So when a HR, okay, Revati says no. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Revati. Volume of the video is too low. All right, I'm so sorry about it. Am I clear now? Am I audible? I should be sound and clear. All right. So I was saying last question, okay? I really want you guys to answer this. Why should we hire you? Somebody wants to answer? Okay. So the answers I usually get is I am a very hard worker. I am passionate about what I do. I make no mistakes. I've been getting first rank. What not? So do you think this is the right approach? Okay, my suggestion would be that you be generic, okay? We don't have to prove anything to HR telling I make no mistakes. No, they're not there to judge. They are there to understand if we will fit in. So you always make sure that you give your answers right. Okay? All right. So what is the takeaway from this short module? If somebody wants to answer that. Okay, very simple. Okay, so you need to understand the HR wants to know that if you are a team player. Wow, that's a wonderful answer to upgrade my skill. Yes, we'll come to that topic, Revati. That sounds very nice. Thank you so much for your text. If you keep messaging or putting your words in the comment, it can be very interactive and you will know what we are doing. Okay, so the takeaway from this would be that HR wants to know if you are a good team player. Plus, they will also want to know if you can handle things under pressure, right? How will you handle criticism with your team members? And last but not least, the resume part, make sure that it doesn't look very natural. Do not use prompt with regards to any of the online website to create your resume. If you have done it already from those kind of website, my only suggestion is take half a day from your weekend, sit on the computer and do it by yourself. Yes, seek advice from internet. I'm not saying no, but you need to understand that only when you do, you will know what you have to speak. Awesome. We'll move on to the next topic, next module, which is the silent interview. Do you know there is something like this? Do you guys know there is something called silent interview? Can I have a yes, no? No, yes. All right. Okay. So what is a silent interview? So before even you could, get inside the room, HR starts absorbing you, right? So from the moment that you come inside of the panel's room, so your evaluation of 30% is done, right? Yes, no. Okay. So many candidates fail to realize that this 30 seconds is the most precious time in the panel interview. So how to crack this is what I'm going to help you understand here. You all know this, but honestly we don't know this is what how it is done. Okay, so first thing is make sure your eye contact is right. So you see them, focus. The first thing you do when you get inside the room is give a eye contact. Okay, and then the second thing is you would sit on the chair, right? So ensure your posture is right. Right? The second thing you sit. Second thing is you sit. And the third thing would be your hand gesture. So make sure that you're not fidgeting with your hand, but ensure that you are having right posture in your hand. I think you'd have seen in many great interviews. This is not something that we want to highlight, but again, when we tell you realize, okay, there is something like this, and I have to make sure, okay, I'm gonna put it there, right? And the fourth thing, you're sitting, you're having your right hand posture and your facial expression, right? You cannot have a long face and sit. So make sure you have your breakfast before you get to the panel, because that's when happy tummy, happy face. I believe in that, right? Okay, so now your facial expression is done. Cool. So now we are ready for the interview. So I'll give you a real life example, okay? So let's say there are two candidates who are sitting for an interview with the XYZ company. So the first associate, he walks. So let's say he knocks the door. He says excuse. Then he'll come inside the room and he'll ask the panel if he can take his seat. And once he sits, he maintains eye contact and has a confidence. Okay, his posture is very confident. He's not leaning or he's not slouching, and he very comfortably sits on the chair. Okay, and very minimal hand gesture. And as I said, his facial expression is also very nice. Now and then he keeps giving a small smile, let's say, and huh. So we'll say a candidate A comes like this. So then there is candidate B, who knocks the door and then he comes inside and then he sits on the chair. Meaning, yeah, he'll say excuse me and then comes in and then he will say, can I please sit? So he sits, and then he's not seeing the person. Let's say he's not seeing the person who's taking the interview. He keeps glancing the room, so he keeps seeing from this wall to the other wall, and he's trying to understand how many lights are there in the panel room, right? And then he's using he keeps touching his face, he keeps fidgeting, and he keeps constantly moving his hands. And one last thing to highlight is whenever he's speaking, no, it's very robotic. Okay, so let's say I am Reshma. My father is a farmer. My mother is a housewife. I eat idli. I like dosa. My mom loves cooking. I also learned cooking. So this is a robotic. So we don't want anybody to speak like that. So now you give me the answer. Do you think a candidate A would be considered or candidate B? Any answers? Thank you, Shabri. Correct. Candidate A will be considered because he's well prepared and he's professional. So the HR likes when people are lively, not somebody who's not taking things seriously. We do not want anybody to be nervous. We don't want anybody to come in there unprepared. Right? Right? Yes? Yes. Thank you so much, Revati. That's so kind of you. And the silent interview comes again. So when I say, like how I said, robotic tone, we don't want that, right? We would want the candidate to have confidence while they speak. They have to be clear. Whatever answer that they are giving, they have to be clear. So these are little things that will attract the HR to talk to you. So when you're like robot, no, nobody wants to listen to you. Correct? Awesome. So what are the speech patterns that we have to notice here is, make sure you're very clear. You have to articulate your words the way, I mean, you should prepare beforehand, okay? So if you have pen and paper, just write down whatever questions I am saying. Maybe it will help you to prepare as well. So I was saying that you should also have energy level, like how you started till the time you say thanks. It cannot be like, start of the session, you're like, I am good. And then when you say bye, you're like, bye. Nobody wants that again. Right? Do you have any questions here? All right. So, in a silent interview, what are the triggers that will reject you? Any idea? So now you know what is a silent interview, right? So what do you think would be the triggering words or triggering action that would lead for a rejection? Just have sip of water. Does anybody wants to take that up? All right, no issues. So the common mistakes, as I said, monotonous voice. When you sound like a robot, yes. And you keep rambling answers, which means you take too long to get to the point. So we don't want that. And we do not want you to use too many fillers. Sounds like huh, like, that, this. See, now and then you can use, but it cannot be often used. Another most important thing is when you interrupt the person who is talking to you, the HR, right? So these are the triggers, including your body language. Like I said, crossing your arms, crossing your legs, or you're putting one leg on the other leg. So these are the reasons for your triggers. I mean, for your rejection, these are the trigger points. Includes when you're speaking too fast or too slow as well. So what is the takeaway from this module? So in a silent interview, you have to ensure that you're confident, you're very clear on what you're talking, and you need to have a good body language and a tone that is impactful. You have to be authentic. Okay? Try to give more of real life examples to any questions that is asked. Right? Loss of patience and behavior. Thanks, Revati. Cool. That's a good answer. I'm starting liking Revati. She's giving very cool answers. I'm pretty sure you would crack an HR interview. All right, let's move on to next module. But if you have any questions on this silent interview, do drop in. I am more than happy to take up that. Okay, this is interesting. I used to think I really wish somebody actually had told me this when I was taking interview for a corporate. I really wished. Did you know? Are you able to see my screen? I've actually changed it to the next module. No? Yes? There it is. Do you all know Tell Me About Yourself is a Trap? Thank you, Shabrin. Thank you so much for your answer as well. So, guys, help me know that if you all know that Tell Me About Yourself is a Trap. Lack of eye contact. Is my internet too slow? Thanks again, Shabri. So my question to you was, do you know Tell Me About Yourself is a Trap? This is the third time I'm telling this. All right. Okay. See, many people think that it's just an introduction. I'm just going to tell about myself and that's what the HR wants. No, not at all. Okay. So this is a behavioral screening tool. So when what you say about you tells a lot about what we want from you. Interesting, right? Yes, it is. So let's again give a live example of how a great answer for Tell Me About Yourself should be and the answer that actually sounds off. Let's take a bad answer first, okay? Okay, so I had this experience myself. So when I asked the associate to tell about yourself, okay, he was like, His tone was exactly like this, okay? However, I'm going to put it across right now. I am a hardworking and a dedicated individual. I have completed my degree in computer science and have knowledge in Java, Python, C++. And I'm looking for a challenging role. Okay, this is one type of an answer that I got from an associate. Okay, and there's another person who answered like this. He said, I recently completed my BTech in computer education and I have strong foundation in Excel. Okay, and he also helps me understand about his projects and the website that he has developed. He also says why he's particularly excited about joining the current organization that he's giving interview for. Okay, so you guys now tell me what is the bad answer here and a great answer here. Shabrin, can you take up this question? Can you help me know which is bad answer here and a great answer? Okay. So the first answer that I gave, na, the person who said I'm a hard worker and dedicated individual. Did you guys feel it? Did it sound like it was rehearsed? Like it sounded like he actually stood in front of the mirror the whole night and probably learnt all of that. Did you guys feel that? Yes, it shows the aggressive. Yes, one, when the associate, when I say associate, it's candidate. So sorry, I keep using that term. So candidate should not be aggressive. First answer was bad, and second one was good. Thank you. So we've got Kavya in the league now. Thank you so much for your answer, Kavya. Uh, that's the right approach. So always be structured, be impact driven. Always relate your answers. Do not read from internet. If you want to learn, if you want to give the best introduction for yourself, always write it down. All right, wonderful. So like I said, no, let the key highlights be your the technical stuffs that you have done in your college or the project experience. And as I said, if you had made any errors there and how you had overcome the problem, so that is something that you can put it across. You can also add why you are looking to join the current organization. Now for example, this is for TCS NQT, right? So do research about TCS and put whatever makes you feel good. All right. So I also would like to know, when somebody asks, tell me about yourself and what might lead for instant rejection. I had an associate, back in 2023 when I went to Mangalore for campus interview. I asked him this question. The first thing he said me was, I'm the best candidate for this job. I was very curious, okay? I was like, he did not give me any example, but he said, I'm the best fit. That came out like that, and I was very curious. I asked him, why do you think you're the best candidate for this job? So, actually, this is a red flag, okay? I'll tell you why. This is a red flag. So, he said, I get, I've scored university first. When I say university, I think it is within the radius of his college because that is an autonomous college. Okay, so my next question is, can you give me examples to back it up? There, we had no answer from him. So, again, so when you're saying things like that, you have to make sure that you have an example. Confidence is good, but not without good proof. It actually sounds baseless, right? So, when you're saying something, make sure you have something. When I say something, you need to have a solution to back up the claim that you're saying. As I said, have real life experience or real experience. It can be something with regards to things that you do at home as well. If you have helped your father with some technical stuff that he didn't know, that would be a great example. So, this is one red flag, like I said. And so there are questions that HR might ask you in your self introduction when they say tell me about yourself. So they would want to understand, let's say, how do I put this across? Uh, they would want to know if you have a positive attitude. So you may end up saying things like, I am a dedicated team player with great problem solving skill. So these are the buzzwords that you would use in your tell me about yourself. Does this sound like rehearsed? Do you think this is a common phrase that everybody uses? Can I have a yes or no? So these are the common things that everybody says in their interview. Tell me about yourself. I'm a dedicated team player and I have a great problem solving skill. Yes, no. Can I please have some answers? Okay, thank you so much, Revati. I like when Revati says yes. Okay, so what is the better way to put things across? You can say, while I was in my final year, I worked in machine learning project. I collaborated with XYZ team. So if you were supporting your juniors, do highlight that. If you were into researching and implementing the algorithm that you have put across, do put that across. See, uh, the take around is I mean, when I say take the HR would take from what you're speaking would be if something is in percentage. Let's say you're trying to prove that you've been a um, good at problem solving. If you could put it in percentage, what happened to your implementation, what was the accuracy of the model, so that is something which would be nice. Any questions on this? Any questions? I would like to answer. We'll take 10 seconds here, please. All right, we'll get on to the next module that says handling the most unexpected HR questions. So any interviews you go or sit with the HR, there is always these tricky questions that they would shoot at you. Okay, I'll tell you one example. So let's say for TCS, the HR would simply ask you why TCS. Yes, do you agree with me? That's the most let's say asked question. Why TCS? So, see, HR just doesn't want to test your technical skill, right? They would also want to understand about your decision making skills, your loyalty, and if you're honest, right? So, those are the important things that an HR would like to know. For example, okay, one tricky question. So, I have a set of questions that I've framed, okay? Let's go one by one. So, the first question comes like this: if you had an offer from Infosys and TCS, what would you choose? Okay, I'll wait for your answers. I'll repeat the question. If you had an offer from Infosys and TCS, what would you choose? Sharifa is saying hi. Hi, Sharifa. So, will your answer be like, both are good companies? And will your answer be like, whoever pays me more high package or whoever offers me a high package, I'll just go by them? Would that be your question? Oh, sorry, would that be your answer? Now that's a weak answer, right? That's again a red flag. The HR doesn't want to hear that from you. Very simple, okay? The pro tip here is, even if you're considering to join the other companies, so you will need to, somebody says Capgemini, okay? No, no. So we cannot give a blunt answer like that. So, so we are sitting here today to understand how to crack TCS NQT, right? The HR interview. So let's say the HR is putting a question to you like this: if you had an offer from Infosys and TCS, which would you choose? So we don't want to say Infosys, right? Because we are here for TCS today. So you should answer in such a way that you tell the HR that I believe that both are good companies, right? But my preference today is TCS because I'm sitting here. See, nobody wants to know that you would want to join another company where you're sitting here for today's interview. Simple, right? So, to make your answer strong, balanced, and thoughtful, you may need to add certain, uh, I would say, some thoughtful process. So you can say, my career goal is to be with teachers, or I'm looking to achieve a leadership level and to grow with the organization. Something like that, it will actually make the HR feel that you're loyal. And when a question like this is thrown at you, you need to understand that the HR is really testing, because the HR already knows that any person who's sitting there wants to jump to an organization who has higher package, who gives the highest offering. But here the main deal is they want to know your loyalty and your decision making skills. How will you frame your words, and how will you put it across that this work culture is important to you? And they're also trying to understand your long term career planning, I would say. So make sure you do not give red flag responses. Do not show lack of interest when this kind of questions are asked to you. Okay, I have another very crazy similar question, okay? An unexpected question. If we hire you today, but you get a call from Google tomorrow, what will you do? I'm just trying to read comments from Revati. She says it's one of the top companies, so I can learn many things to upgrade myself. So I will say I will join TCS. Okay, so Revati, that sounds cool, but you need to reframe the first line. When you say top company, you need to do your research to understand why TCS is at the top with regards to TCV growth, or because career and personal life is taken care, those kind of things. That is something very important. Sanjit, again, I could read you saying I will say I will join TCS. Yes, that's a good approach. I would say it's a very straightforward answer. Again, you can frame it in a different way, like how I said, right? You can start with saying, both are good companies, but my preference would be TCS, and you need to structure your answer why TCS. Cool. And Sharif has got something else to say to us. They will select one out of three students from the HR, MR. I think he's trying to say technical round. So the first round would be technical, and then managerial round, and then again technical round. From 1 lakh they will select 30K. So these rounds are very important. Wonderful, Sharik. That is something something that is nice to know as well. So these rounds are very important, and you need to understand that we cannot give answers in one line. So do frame your sentence, structure it, keep it balanced. It shouldn't be like paragraphs, and it cannot be like one line. Like, for example, somebody is asking you, if we hire you today, okay, the HR is asking, if we hire you today but you get a call from Google tomorrow, what will you do? You cannot say, no, 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 I will stay with TCS. Do you think that's the right approach? Or you would say, of course I will leave. Who doesn't wants to join Google? No, right? These are again red flags. So nobody, not just HR, nobody who are hiring you for that current organization. Nevertheless, if it is Google, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, any other top multinational company doesn't wants to hear an answer from you like that. So as I said, we should have a balanced and strategic response. So how can we frame it? I have something written here. Opportunities at companies like Google are exciting, but I believe I'm committing to the choices that I make now. Does that sound nice? I think it definitely does really sound good. So we'll see for the next big offers down the line, but now my priority is where I'm sitting. So this is one way that you can indirectly tell the HR about your integrity. They'll also understand your long term commitment. So you need to frame your answer in such a way where these points are taken indirectly from there, from your answers. Like I said in a silent interview. So these are the answers you give them without speaking. Your career aspiration is noted here. How you handle the tough decision, that is also taken here from the HR. Okay. One last question on this unexpected HR questions. Okay, Shabrin, I believe in commitment and professionalism. If I accept an offer from your company, my focus will be wonderful. That is a wonderful answer. A huge round of applause. I love the answer, Shabri. I would be impressed when somebody says things like this. Good. All right. So the last question that I have taken for this module would be, your resume says quick learner. Prove me. Or let's say prove it. Huh. So what will be your answer? So I had an associate, again, he thought, I learn things very quickly whenever needed. My manager asks me anything, I will make sure I learn that in 5 minutes and then put it to him in next 10 minutes. Is it a right approach? Again, no, right? Sometimes you have to give example driven approach. Again, as I said, take a live example from your internship or time you spent in your college. Let's talk about your internship. So let's say you had some automation testing tool that was working fine for 1 week, and then you had some problem, and how you what was the implementation that you have done to reduce the testing time, right? Those kind of things are very important. So make sure that your answers are example driven. So make sure you your answers always support with specific example. See, HRs want proof, they just don't want to hear words. You need to provide evidence, and the HR has to be convinced with your answer, right? Okay. So simple, my suggestion while HR is trying to ask you this kind of questions are that you should not panic. Okay, so think before you're answering. Always provide examples. Okay, so make sure, like I said, have a live example that you take from your internship or college days. You can also start writing set of examples or difficult situations that you had back in your days. So show commitment. Okay, show that you are here to crack this interview today. Nevertheless, you have different plan, but today your motive when you're sitting right opposite to the HR is that I want to crack this interview, take the offer letter. right? Okay. Shabran is giving me wonderful answers. He's saying, of course, Google is a dream company. I think, there's a lag, and that's why I'm just getting this. And I know there is a lag for 30, 40 seconds. So I'm just reading this. Of course, Google is a dream company for many, but I also know that success comes from dedication and making the most of the opportunity I have right now. And my priority is to build my skill, gain experience, and add value to the company that trust me. Wow. Shabrin, this is something where you have implemented a structured answer, I would say, and it is very generic, right? It is nice to hear these kind of answers. My voice is very soothing. Thank you so much. I've been hearing this a lot, but actually, when you see me in person, my voice is little hard. Thanks. Thanks for that. What we were speaking? Yeah. So I was telling you guys to not to panic. So make sure that you give real life experience questions. Okay. So we'll take 10 seconds now. Okay, we'll take probably 30 seconds because there is a lag. So if you have any questions, do drop it. I'll answer you all. Do you have questions? If may I ask? Do you guys have any questions? I know there is a lag, so I'm taking little time for you to shoot your questions to me. I have done 6 to 7 in easy and 4 to 7 in medium. Will I get the interview call? TCS NQT exams are not still live. So I think Sanjit, you may need to give your exams and post, which is when you'll know all those things. I am here to solve HR queries. So this is not something in my scope. All right. So we will discuss about industry secrets. Okay. So what is that HR thinks and they never tell? Have you ever thought, okay, you're getting you might have had mock interviews, or you might have seen in movies or series or any kind of YouTube videos. You see a person getting into a room, probably sitting and talking to a HR, and then all the question answers are done, and then the HR says nice talking to you, and then you leave, right? So there is a lot of gap here. You're not knowing what is happening, and HR rarely reveals what's going through their head, or let's say through their mind during interview. Yes. So in this session, we will I'll give you an insider, insights what actually HR thinks, which they don't openly tell. Okay. The first thing, as I said, we HRs uh, will find, uh, we decide if you are gonna be in or out in first 30 seconds. Like I said, first is your body language. How confident are you while you're speaking? Okay, this is first foremost very important thing that you need to understand or know when you are getting into a HR interview. So make sure that you have a good posture. Please be confident, though you don't know the answer. Have a face that says you have answer for all the queries. Okay, so when you walk, make sure you're knowing what you're doing. Second thing is very important, it's your grooming. Does your attire and behavior reflect your seriousness? Meaning, we don't want anybody to be walking inside a room wearing a jeans, flip flops, and a formal shirt. Okay, there's an error of mix match. So that's one thing where we understand that somebody is not serious. I'll take a pause. Shabri has a question here. How do I make a strong first impression on during an interview? So that's what we are speaking, Shabri. That's where I'm taking the first impression matters more than the full interview. That's where I'm saying your body language, your grooming. So I'm coming there. And your second question is, should I include extracurricular activity like sports on your resume? See, it can be that you are enthusiastic sports person, but uh, not something like one first place in lemon and spoon race. Nobody wants to know that. So if you have gone into district, zonals, represented state, yes, very well. Add it in one line that you have excelled your career in sports with being a leadership at your school level. See, there also you can showcase your leadership. When I got into this current company that I'm working, the corporate, they did ask me, I was a sports, I was an athlete myself and I had this on my resume. So that's when they started digging me a lot of questions there. So yes, you can add it in one line, not more than that. And also, guys, make sure your resume is just one page. Do not staple, do not have paper 2, paper 3, don't do that. Okay? And is it better to wear college dress for interview? So when you say college dress, I'm so sorry, do you guys have a uniform, or you wear formals? If you could answer that to me alone. Oh, right. I thought, Sanjit, you're typing and there is a lag. So I'll get back when I have your ping there. So I was saying that, okay, college uniform. See, if it is plain color, please wear it. It shouldn't be a concern at all. All right, awesome. So coming back, we were speaking about first impression matters, right? So I was saying that you have to be confident with your body language, right? And second thing was your grooming. So your attire speaks a lot more than you guys actually understand. See, I don't want to interview a person who's come up wearing a jeans and a floaters or a funky shoes, nor a person who hasn't cut his hair properly. Okay, I'm taking a pause there. We have Shabri telling he's a national volleyball player. Wonderful. I'm going to give you a heart for that. Thank you so much for sharing. Coming back, it's about your energy as well. Okay, so you need to showcase the HR that you are very genuinely interested in this current job offering. Yes, if you have blazers, yes, you can wear it as well. Nice to hear, Shabrin. Very nice. Okay, so we will also look upon real world examples where your first impression matches. So, like we spoke in the first module, the first main thing is you have to maintain your eye contact. You need to greet somebody, not just HR. From the time you walk into the campus or to the premises where your interview is happening, make sure you're polite to anybody. So we HRs are seeing you everywhere. So we had scenarios where we have rejected an associate who's very very strong in technical but had very bad attitude towards the helpers. So that is something that we don't want, which means show that you're genuinely polite, know that you've been watched everywhere. Okay, so it's not just HR who finalizes. They take the resume, they give the inputs, and there are other 5 6 people who will sit together and make the decision. All right. And as I said, HR doesn't want anybody who is little hesitant and he who mumbles. No, right? We don't want anybody to be like that. So like I was saying, HRs will decide within first 30 seconds. So if you are good at all these things, you're already 50%, you have won the interview. Rest 50% is how you speak. So now you understand what is the importance of your body language, the attire you wear, and the energy that you carry throughout the forum. Another thing, simple tip. So let's say you're made to sit outside, asking that you would be the next person or next to next person to take up the HR round. So there, even people see what you're doing. Are you fidgeting with your phone? Are you just sliding reels? Or like, are you taking your notes and reading them? So these are small red flags that they observe. They do it. Okay, you may think who has time for all that, but know that these are the small things that really matters. See, in today's world, getting a job is very difficult. An organization like TCS, where it values associate, where it values employee, it's difficult to crack an interview like that. So once you crack this interview, the job is yours, right? It's a good package and you'll have a very good career growth. So I personally know a lot of things, I've heard a lot of things about this company. Trust me, this is one organization who really cares about your personal life as well. So they make sure you have a career plus a life outside work. I just thought I'll let you know. And yes, here I am. Shabrin, I'll take up that question. You guys can start putting your questions. So I can start answering. Since there is a lag, the questions are coming up late, but know that I'm going to answer that. All right. So we will go to the next question. Okay, industry secrets. HRs are most, they are tendly to, sort of ask the same question in different ways. I'll give you an example, okay? The first question would be, tell me about a time that you handled pressure. Okay, listen to this question very carefully. Tell me about a time you handled pressure is one question, and the same question is coming in a different way. Have you ever faced a difficult deadline? Do you think these two questions are same? I'll give you a third question. Now you tell me what it is. What was your toughest challenge in your previous internship? So do you think these three questions are same questions? So yes, HR are tend to ask this kind of questions to understand if you're building up stories or if you're giving real experience based answers. Again, as I said, HRs do not want to see or understand that you're making up stories. So as I said, please do write your uh, positives and negatives. All right. Like I was saying, you are being watched even when you think you're not. Okay, like I said, how you behave before and after the interview is very important. Either you talking to a receptionist, or like I said, if you're waiting to go to the interview, or when you say thanks once your HR round is done. So people do watch. So ensure you're at best behavior from the time you get inside till the time you go out. Okay, I'll give you a real life example. Like I think I said this. Like we had a person who was technically very strong, but we saw him being rude to the support staff. So what happens? Bad behavior is bad hire. So we nobody wants to hire a person who has attitude. So tomorrow it gets very difficult to run the business. Thanks, Revati. Thanks for your answer. Okay. So Shabrin is asking a question. Okay. The question is, if I get rejected, how do I ask for feedback professionally? All right. I'll tell you a small story. You help me know if that could relate. Not the one I'm taking talking right now. So I thought, before I proceed with the question Shabrin has given to us, I thought I'll just give you a 5-second tip. Okay, how do you want to earn time while you're talking to HR? Most important thing, right? So let's say, instead of, when somebody shoots a question, tell me about a time you failed at something. Okay, so you're like in a panic. Okay, now HR is asking me to answer something that I failed. So how do you buy in time to think about it? You know the basic. I think you all know this. If you if you see a glass of water there, sip it. You've earned 5 seconds there, right? Yes. Okay. Second thing is, you could ask them to repeat the question. Third thing, you could say, that's a great question. Let me think of best answer. One way where you can again buy 5 to 10 seconds maybe, you can seek clarification. HRs are actually basically friendly. Okay, so when you're being honest after all the rounds of interview that you have done, you can, take it light when you're coming to a conclusion. Take it very light, and you can always ask them that, either to repeat, or to, or you can ask them to tell about the organization by themselves. You can ask them about the work culture. How TCS treats associate. Where do I see my career? So if I'm with the organization for next 5 to 10 years, where can I see myself? These are again some tips where, when the HR says, "Do you have any question for me?" You can ask those things. Shabrin, I believe, no HR would right away say you're rejected. You can always ask them for feedback. You can tell them that, "Madam, you've spoken to me for 10 to 15 minutes." I think you don't have to say madam. You can always, call that person with the name. Okay? So you can ask them honestly, like, "I've given my interview. What do you think? Do you think I have any feedback to take from you to be a better person, or to get better with what I'm doing?" Right? That is one way of asking feedback, but I'm pretty sure that, rejection will not be told there, because they do evaluate you on lot of basis, lot of things, right? Okay. See, while you're doing all this, you need to understand or learn how to avoid awkward situation. Very important when these kind of tricky questions are asked. You have to make sure that you're calm, composed. Okay, and then be confident about what you're speaking. Something very important, please gain real time feedback. Okay, always ask them that, do you have anything for them to ask or tell you. So do not hesitate. Nobody is an animal there. Right? All right. See, while another simple tip from me, few set of tips that I would say. When somebody is asking you something, a HR itself, when they say, "Tell me about yourself," do not directly dive in. Okay, so take a pause, give a good hand gesture, show that you're very comfortable sitting there, Also make sure that while you give all the positives, do also give your weak areas. Also mention how you overcame that. Okay, that is something. Salary negotiation is something that will not happen to you, but if if they ever ask you, how will you answer? They may say what is your expectation. So you can say, okay, I'm a fresher, this is my expectation, or you like, this is what is put across on the website. And things like that. Do you think that is one right approach? Or you can say, for particular exam that I've given with TCS has a standard compensation and I'm expecting the same thing. Things like that. Can I have a thumbs up if this answer says it all? Yes. See, another thing, no TCS, okay? So if you're going for TCS, any interviews, sit for a while, research about the organization. So now for TCS, the website would be tcs.com, right? Understand who is the CEO. Understand who is the chairperson. Understand who is the CHRO. Very important, right? Yes. Understand how much organization has made profit quarter on quarter. At least 2 quarters you can understand. You don't have to keep numbers in your head, but small, like let's say this is what it is and this is the quarter result, right? That will actually benefit. So will it stop from there? If you have anybody who is either your friend, seniors from college, if they are working with TCS, do ask them about career progression or how TCS work. Understand if it is, it's, see, TCS is not just related to technical thing. They have business process unit, they have scientists, they have doctors, and they have solution architects. Example, just saying. So you need to understand what TCS does, who TCS are. So in how many countries TCS have their work are based. So which are the major countries TCS supports. So see, when you understand 100 things, while you're put in that hotspot, you'll at least have 10 things to come out, right? Wonderful. Revati, I just saw your comment on the salary front. Yeah. Yeah, that is something you can say as well. So as I said, do not keep answers to one line. If you think you can add another one, do add it. If you have questions, do type. I think we will definitely see a lag. So I was also saying, when you get inside a TCS website, you will be able to see something called newsroom and the press release and the alerts that TCS are currently doing. See, when you go through all this again, it will actually add value to your interview. So you may think, why is this important to me? But again, as I said, when you are giving a real time example and making your answers structured, you never know, your brain might think all of this and put it across. So very important. These are just general tips, okay? And understand how many associates work for TCS. I know for a reason there are almost 6 lakh employees with TCS around the globe, right? And in India they have approximately 2 lakh. And also get to understand the industries TCS work for. Can you tell about your first interview experience as a student? Okay, Kavya, thank you so much for that. So there's a lot. I see a graduate who was very eager to get a job. I'll again be honest, my first interview was with TCS. Okay, back in 2016. I was a kid, I wish, we had sessions or somebody, back then so what is this? Internet was not way too familiar, and we only had our campus trainer who would actually tell us what is happening. So as a, just a college pass out, everything that was on my mind is salary. And I was like, okay, TCS announced a good package, and I was like, I have to crack this anyhow. And I thought communication and confidence is the key. I used to speak at least, good English then. So I thought, I speak good English, I can go and crack the interview. That's the attitude I had. I went there, but I was wrong. Okay, so that's one mistake I did, but it was very nice. I saw so many people, so many HRs, being very gentle, very polite. And this happened back in a place in Tamil Nadu. But now I've understood, while I started my career with HR, I understood communication is not something that everybody thinks is important to crack the interview, but it's the adaptability and the emotional intelligence that you carry, and how you answer the queries or questions that they want. See, nobody wants a toxic person or a person who carries attitude. I think, back then I showcased this. Maybe that is a takeaway from there, and that's when I learned I should not be like that. Yes, then again, we didn't have anybody to tell, but yeah, these are my own lessons. And I also gave answers like I can do that by myself, and I don't need any support. These blunt questions, which are red flag answers, were too often came out of me. So again, I learned there not to do that. And that's where I was saying, I had put up a line. My resume was very bad. I'll tell you, it was two pager, and I had stapled it. And my resume had a big box in the first page, okay, that had my college, my school, and my 10th standard, with the year of completion, with the percentage, and with the subjects I love. And I was so child that I had put heart against subjects I loved. So now I know we should not do that, but then I did that. So I've learnt my lessons, and I'm thank you for asking that, Kavya. I think, when we say, uh, people learn. So people learn that they should not be doing it. So we here today we have to understand that TCS doesn't expect a fresher to know everything. They just want to understand if you're a quick learner. So do not freeze under pressure. Do not show you are thinking a lot. Okay, just just be there. Answer what your heart says. Shabreen has a question. How does TCS support freshers in their career growth? See, I for a reason I know that company like TCS has a wide range of industrial habits, and TCS never stops growth. I'll tell you another reason why TCS. I'll tell you. So while you're in TCS, you're gonna be employee of TCS all the time. Even if they miss out a client or a project, they would never say, okay, so we have lost a customer, you will no longer have a job. So you're there till you're a TCSer. Even if they lose out on the opportunity or a customer, you're still there. So that's how they take care of you as an employee and as a human. Okay, so one last thing, I was talking to you about industries that TCS handle. So if you know that, again, it might add values. So I'll take you through that. So the basic things, the products and platforms they handle, and the industries. So you are aware that they have banking, finance. So these are the common things everybody knows. I'll tell you something beyond that. Banking, life science, and insurance, probably you would know, and healthcare also, maybe, most of them knows it. But you need to know they have capital marketing, consumer packageable goods, they have communication, they have media house, they also have public service. Example, okay, Aadhaar card is taken care by TCS completely. The printing, the processing, the background check, rest of the thing. The same with passport as well. Okay, so we have people. So I was saying public service, which is passport printing. Okay, cool. That's what it is. And they also have high tech, they have doctors, scientists, and yeah, I think those two are the highest professional people they have. They also have lawyers. The product and platform things like you would all know BFSI, which is banking finance sector. That's one thing most of you all would know. Know that there is something called TCS Chroma, TCS Ion with AI cloud integrated. So the lot of things, if I can talk, I keep talking about this topic, but you guys need to know that you do your homework. Just get inside website and understand what they do and what they are. I think that will make a lot of difference when you're giving the interview. Just be nice. My tip is that you just have a humble heart. Do not be worried you thinking what they'll ask, what they'll do and all. So take it light, enjoy whatever is happening. Give your exam, uh, tell your exam that I'm coming and I'm clearing you. All right. So it is 8:23. Okay, I'll take a stop here. If you have questions, do send it across. I will try to answer it. Shabrin has another question that says, what are the most important programming languages for a fresher at TCS? Apologies for that. Shabrin, I am little skeptical about this question. What are the most important programming? I think they, as a company like TCS handles most of the technologies. Very not like it's only limited to HTML, Python, Java. It goes beyond that. See, if you're getting inside TCS as a tester, so there is definitely a language that you have to learn. So, but when the basic things that they would expect you to know is C and Java. So that's where other things are evolved. Okay. So Revati has a question. Any part of the government sector? So I was saying na the uh, Aadhaar card and passport. Did I say PAN card? I'm so sorry if I said that. I was to say passport. Okay, so these two are run by TCS. Yes, I for a reason know that. What was the most unexpected question you faced in an interview and how did you respond? So okay, so that's it's been a long time since I took up any interviews. What was the most unexpected question? Hmm. Shabrin, I don't recall any such thing, but I think the one that I told in this module, I as a HR, when I tend to ask this to associates. When I say associates, candidates asking if you get an offer with Google tomorrow, will you go? So that is some question that I have often asked people, and I've got so many yes, and yes, people who ever told yes, I've rejected them. All right, next question. We'll have 5 minutes for Q&A. It was actually very nice to see Revati and Shabrin being very communicative, and I wish the live channel had an option where you could speak. It would have been very fun. I'll take up the question. You can post it here. Revati says it was a wonderful session. I'm so glad you liked it, Revati. I loved everything that you said. It made so much sense, and I wish you best. I wish you luck, not just to you, to everybody who's there on the call today and whoever is gonna see this in the future, please. How did we have next question here? How did your own interview experience help you guide students today? Shabrin, as I said, I don't know if you were there. You know, I have been in the corporate world for almost 8 plus years. Okay, so I have taken up a lot of interviews, not just with fresher, even with experienced associate, not just in Bangalore. We have gone even to travel states. Okay, so when we have a requirement, we go, we travel. So that's where, as many people I see, and we keep learning. So as a corporate associate, we also have certifications and training programs to upskill ourselves with regards to recruitment as well. Okay, I think that helps you understand how I've gained experience, or like how I become better than yesterday. Okay, we'll just wait for another 1 minute to understand if you guys have any questions. All right, it was wonderful, having to had a chance talking to you all. Again, I wish you good luck and have a very great day ahead and a very good career as well. Signing off, Reshma here. Thank you so much. Bye bye.